Hey y'all, Jason here. Now before we dive into some picking and gritting, I've got to take a moment to acknowledge a recent passing of a true country legend, Toby Keith. From Should Have Been a Cowboy to Red Solo Cup, Toby's songs painted vivid pictures of American life, capturing the spirit of freedom, hard work, and good times. And his music resonated with millions, becoming anthems for everyday folks across our great nation. While we mourn his loss, let's remember Toby's music continues to inspire and uplift, and what better way to honor his legacy than by learning one of his iconic tunes. That's right. Today we're tackling Don't Let the Old Man In, a song that embodies Toby's zest for life and encourages us to embrace every moment. So grab your guitar, channel your inner Red Solo Cup spirit, and get ready to learn this country classic. Buckle up, because we're about to keep Toby's memory alive, one strum at a time. I would encourage you to download the lesson binder. It's the full lesson binder for this lesson in the link in the description and in one of the captions in the card above if you're on a computer. But they're great. It's the entire lesson is being planned out. So we've got the it's been illustrated. We've got the chords, all of the chords for the song, and a note-by-note transcription of the finger-picking patterns for the complete intro and verse and chorus. So we're going to walk through that stuff today, right now. And you have the guide, and we're watching the video together. I'm playing with you, and we'll have some fun. So we've got the D, add 9, 4 plus 9. Well, it's actually the D, add 4, right? And we're in drop D tuning, so it's a beautiful tuning to have in this for this song. So we're just starting with a forward roll, and we repeat that. So we're starting on, I'll let you get the fingers from the binder, and it's just a forward roll twice for the first measure, right, of the intro. The second measure of the intro is still the same thing, except for we have an eighth note rest. 1. Okay. We've got this really wild leap. It's a reverse roll, starting on the middle string on the G string and back down to the fourth fret on the D, and then second finger grabs fret number 2 or 3. Second finger grabs fret 3 on the B string, and then drops the bomb on drop D. Okay. So 2 forward rolls. Third forward roll. That's the intro. The verse starts with the same chord, but with an added 9 that we have we're sliding up. We're adding a slur here. We haven't done that yet in the song, and so it's actually it's actually a note that we're playing, we're counting in eighth notes. The tempo is quarter note. If you're using a metronome to practice this stuff, if you want to measure whether you're up to the speed of the song where you can play it along with the recording, it's quarter note equals 95 beats per minute, right? So it's, it's moving along, but you can do it. The verse is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, the first measure of the verse. We're not going up to the G string, but we're going up to after we play the low D string, we're going to slide from 2 on the D up a whole step to fret 4 on the D. And then we're skipping up to the B string. Right? So it's 1, 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1. And then we stay there on that pattern. 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and that third finger comes off in the second measure, so that we can get ready to move to the G chord here, right? The G5. And that's just a forward roll. It's a forward roll with a 1 and 2 and 3. That note is tied to the previous, the and of 2. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and we repeat that. That's what that is in the binder. And 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then we move up to the A7. 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and that's just a forward roll of an A7 with a sus4 in it. So that's the A7 chord with the added 3rd fret on the B string, and that works pretty well. It's a great sound, you know. And then we go back to, after we move to the 2nd bar of that A7. Yeah, we're resolving from the A7 in the 2nd bar of A7. We're playing the A string, the D string, and the 4th fret, 4th finger, 3rd fret, and then we resolve to the A7 chord without any suspended 4th. Back to this D, add 4 plus the 9. 1, 1, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Forward roll. The 2nd measure of the D is just a forward roll with that rhythmic motif that happens frequently through the song. It's the 1 and 2 and bum 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 ding 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 da bum bum. It's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and so there's a little gap on the end of 2. 1 and 2 and da da bum 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 bum. So that's something that will occur throughout the song. I'm just going to change pages because we don't need to look at this page anymore. We can look at the next part of the page 2, and then that's D add 11 or add 9. It's just a regular D add 9, I think. So we've got a D here. Right, we get that D chord, a sus2, or add 9. We'll call it add 9 for today. And then a sus4. It's really a sus2, right? But it's add 9 in the literature here. That's okay. We'll understand that. So we have a forward roll again. And then this is at, let's see where this is at. This is at 35 seconds in the recording. It's not the radio, it's not the mix for radio, it's just the guitar, voice, and then the keyboard in the background. So that's that recording that we're making reference to. It's one of my favorites. I like the flavors of the radio version, but I really like just the bare bones approach to this one. So I hope you do too. So one of the ways as a fingerstyle guitar player we make it through stuff like this, we add, instead of just playing D over and over again, which is nothing wrong with that. You know, don't get me wrong, this is cool. But we move the melody around a little bit, you know, so we don't have to play the same three or four strings at a time. We can just, you know, I'm dropping the bomb down here, looking at 2 middle strings, and then skipping up to with the 3rd finger up to the high E string, placing the melody on open high E string. The second time around and measure the first measure of page 2, we move from the melody on the high E string down to the melody on the B string on fret 3, which is a D note. So then we move again to the second measure. I'm walking us through this whole piece right here. So that D chord is actually, we've got to work on getting that hammer on from open high E's. It's not really 1 and 2. It's not 1 and 2 and 3. It's 1 and 2 and right? So we want this note, the arrival on that F sharp note, to be counted as and, right? 1 and 2 and. So it's a really quick hammer-on. 1 and 2 and. So it's that hammer-ons from 0 to fret 2 on the high E string. Hammer-on, in case you haven't done it, it's like you've turned your finger into a hammer, and you literally hammer it onto the string while you pluck, right after you pluck the string, you know, it eliminates the need to pluck the string twice, right? Okay, so that's the forward roll, the second bar of the second page. And then that's just a forward roll again, which opens up the G string. That opens the G string because we're going up to the G or the A7 chord again here. And then there's a really cool lick that happens here. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. It's again that forward roll followed by that combination roll. But we've got this 1 and 2 and 3, 4. So that A7 hangs out. And I know it doesn't sound like much when we're playing it slow, but trust me, when you get with your metronome at 90, you know, start at 60 beats per minute, and we've got this 2 and 3 and 4 and. It'll sound just like the recordings, right? So get those techniques together, and then we head back to that same slide in D, add 4 and plus 9, right? And then we head over the D9, which is this, we see this for the first time in the song here, and 2 and 3 and 4 and you have the D9 in the chord chart in lesson binder, but if you want to just kind of get a quick glimpse of what it is, we've got that nice, you know, second and first fingers on the G and B strings, frets 2 and 1. Forward roll, and we're rolling up into the chorus is what we're doing. We're basically moving from the D chord, turning the 1 chord into a dominant chord, which sets us up to the 5 of the 4 chord, right? So 5 of 4 is a common thing that happens in country music, and a lot of music, right? Especially American country music. But we've got to move from the 1 chord to the 4 chord, and we want to make a little bit bigger announcement that we're moving to the 4 chord. So we say, hey, here's the D7. World's falling apart here. Let's get out of here. Bang, G. Oh yeah, right. And we arrive at this really big chorus, right? So that's what's happening here. But he uses D9. We're just forward rolling from the low open D, and this is that rhythmic motif again that keeps recurring through the song. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and open up the G string to get to that G chord. And then we're using a forward roll again. And again, this is the first bar of the chorus, 55 seconds of the song. And we use just a different rhythmic pattern here. 1 and 2 and 3 is tied to the previous note, and 4 and, right? So 1, it's a different rhythmic count, so we'll have to just kind of take a quick inventory of that. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. The next measure of G in the chorus is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then we carry back on to the D chord. Again, we have another one of those hammer-on sort of that are ghost notes or approach notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, that's the measure of D. The second measure of D is just a straight ahead forward roll. Low E string or D string, 2 middle strings, and then forward roll to the high E string on fret 2. And then the second half of that measure is 0, and that very common, that combination roll that happens a few times. Once you start looking at the tablature in the binder, you'll see that that's very common through this song. And the last page here is where everything turns gears. We're hitting that E major chord, right? And we're doing that 2 times in a row, so we're going to repeat that, but we're just going to examine that. It's actually E7. You could play it as an E, but it's actually E7. So I'm going to add my 4th finger here. So 1, and it's that same low string, 2 middle strings, and we skip to the high string, and then that note is tied to the beginning of the second grouping of beats, right? So the count is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then that repeats, and we're back to the A with just a forward roll, 1 and 2 and 3, and then that combination roll at the end. And then the final bit of transcribed notes of this particular song, everything else repeats and after that, but it's a forward roll of A7, and that's it. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4. That's it. And we're back to the next part of the song, which is material we've already covered. I'm happy you're still here. Remember, life is precious. Take time for what matters and keep honing your craft. For more guitar resources, check out the links in the description. Happy picking.